Air Force in this football game right away going to have to try to establish the option game. 9th in the nation in running offense. Meanwhile, Oregon can't stop teams that run the football. They're last in the Pac-10. They're going to have to step up there. I think Air Force will win the game.
But the upset will be Oregon's defense will come up from nowhere. The reason? They've had 3 weeks to get ready for the wishbone, and they outscore the Air Force Academy. Watch them.
That's where they've been all year, is nowhere. They're last in the Pac-10 in some major categories.
Or visit our website.
Traded my Fiat for BMW. Unloaded BMW for Mercedes. All before lunch.
Ameritrade. The way to trade. Period.
The Las Vegas Bowl on ESPN2 is brought to you by Gateway 2000 Direct Personal Computers and by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. Well, it's the 1997 Las Vegas Bowl, and the matchup from the Pac-10, the Ducks of Oregon against the Western Athletic Conference 21st ranked Falcons of the Air Force Academy from Sam Boyd Stadium. And here's the biggest question right now. Blaine Morgan, the quarterback of the Air Force Academy, a deep thigh bruise the day they were leaving to come to Vegas. Will he be able to go in this football game this afternoon? Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin, and we are proud to be a part of the very first bowl game that is played for this 1997-98 year. In fact, this is the first of 10 bowl games that you'll see on ESPN2 and ESPN. Mike Godfrey joins me on the telecast as usual. And Mike, when talking about Blaine Morgan and Air Force, if he can't go or if he's not 100%, tell us what kind of effect. Do you think he's going to start in this game?
I do, Ron. I watched him in pregame warm-up. He's got a deep thigh bruise, and what that bothers him most on is pushing off with his right leg, trying to cut the ball up, carrying the ball on the option. And then how many hits can he take in a ball game? But remember, this is a fullback-oriented offense, so that fullback's going to carry the ball most of the time.
You know, it's interesting. If you're not familiar with these two clubs, Oregon and Air Force, quite a contrast. Oregon's offense, 420 yards plus a ball game. They score over 30 points. But Air Force only allows 12 points. So obviously something has to give.
Ron, there's no doubt about it that Oregon is so talented on offense. It's the most talented offensive football team Air Force has played this season. The big question, and a question in every bowl game that you have to ask, is the motivation there for Oregon, the Ducks, on offense. If it is, they'll score a lot of points against this Air Force defense.
Mike, I have to tell the people we have been snookered just a little bit. We were told by the Weather Bureau this time yesterday the wind was blowing 35 to 40 miles an hour. Look, that flag is hardly moving. Now, they are saying that it'll pick up 12 to 15 miles an hour. Had that happened, though, Mike, I think that would have been big on behalf of the Air Force Academy, because it would have hurt Oregon's passing game.
Well, without a doubt, the big thing that the Ducks want to do is throw the football. They'd had 2 quarters where they'd thrown the ball into 40-mile-an-hour wind, and then when you run that option, you just got that little toss.
So it looks as though everybody is fired and ready to go as we take a look at the head coaches. Mike Bellatti's third season at Oregon, 21-13, his numbers. Second bowl game. And across the way, well, a gentleman who has been wearing that Air Force blue for a long time. 14th season at the Academy. 9th bowl game for Fisher DeVary. Certainly one of the really class acts in all of college football as far as the coaches are concerned. Air Force will kick this one off. Oregon won the toss. Saladin McCullough, one of the deep men, along with Johnson. And here's the kick, and the 97 Las Vegas Bowl is underway. From the 9-yard line, it's Johnson. Now, he is a world-class sprinter, but good coverage on the part of the Air Force as they will stop him around the 30. And let's check in quickly with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Ron, thank you. It is very difficult, I'll tell you right now, to know exactly how healthy Blaine Morgan is, because he's such a tough young man. He honestly won't tell his coaches and trainers how much pain he's going to play with. But watch him very closely. He does have full range of motion in that right leg, and that was the coach's concern. The question now is, how long can he go, though? Because in this option-style offense for Air Force, as the quarterback sprints out, the very first place he's going to take a hit is on that right leg.
Now this is Akili Smith. Play action, and Oregon going to go on top on first down, and it's Johnson. He's got it, and he will take it the distance, 69 yards.
talked about in the open, this is the most skill that Air Force is going to face on defense this entire year. Tim Curry, number 5, just squats down and just gets run by Pat Johnson, number 83, and the ball's delivered right on the mark by Keely Smith. A nice way to start the bowl season.
69 yards. We mentioned that Oregon averages scoring 1 minute and 38 seconds per scoring drive. That one took 18 seconds. Frankel with the extra point attempt. He's got it. So there's a break in the action, and we've only played 18 seconds. 7-0. Oregon goes on top in the strength of Pat Johnson's touchdown reception.
So I'm back.
They're certainly not wearing much.
I know. In my town. Hey, lady. What is 24/7?
24/7 is
24 hours a day?
7 days a week.
You want to trade hats? Is this real Dalmatian?
On Earth, because as the official car rental company of Disneyland in Southern California, National gets you in your car and on the road fast for a family vacation you'll never forget. So what are you waiting for? Let's go to Disneyland with National Car Rental.
The Las Vegas Bowl on ESPN2 is presented by Las Vegas. It's non-stop action around the clock, and we're open 24 hours. And in part by the complete line of 1998 Lincoln and Mercury automobiles.
Well, I knew that ducks flew quickly, but that's ridiculous. 69 yards. We had not been able to get out of our mouth that on the kickoff that he had world-class speed and in fact is on the track team. But boy, Pat Johnson just made very quick work. Frankel's kick is going to come down to Farmer at the 8. Out of the 25 to the 27-yard line. So Blaine Morgan, you see what he's done on the season. Passing is something that actually comes off what the run sets up for him, right, Mike?
Yeah, Ron, they're a running football team. Make no mistake about that. The other thing in this ball game is, you know, when you're playing against a wishbone team, you want to set the tempo, and that's what Oregon did. But remember this, sometimes you can score so fast you fall asleep, and let's see what happens to Oregon now.
That's a great point. So the Air Force on first down, running from that familiar wishbone, and by golly, they're going to throw on first down, and Morgan goes on top and tipped away. Farmer, the intended receiver, and it was Edwards who knocked it down.
Good start by Air Force offensively, trying to again make Oregon respect the run. Fake the option right on the first play and try to get it to Farmer. Matt Farmer, number 6, down the field. Just waited a little bit too long, and you can see Matt Farmer trying to get himself positioned against Eric Edwards, number 4. Big splits by Air Force, Ron. Oregon jumped offside, a little nervous there, but notice the big splits by Air Force, which means Oregon's trying to open it, or Air Force trying to open it up.
On the defense, be a 5-yard penalty and remain second down.
Our referee today, Randy Crystal.
What a break there. You throw a bomb on first down, and you're an offensive team where you try to get 3 yards all the time.
Morgan with Gilliam, Ruff, and Singleton. They will have the tight end Qual along with Newman in the offensive line. It's a veteran group, and there they are. Mindrup, the left guard, probably is the gentleman who grades out the best on a consistent basis, but all of these guys have played together for a while. And in fact, interesting, Mike, that Mindrup and Parks both were moved inside from tackle because Fisher DeBerry and his staff knew that this was going to be a fullback-oriented team.
He knew that they had to work the inside game with Spanky Gillum.
Gilliam with the handoff. He'll take it straight ahead for about 1 yard. Patu, Saul Patu, number 48, a redshirt freshman out of Seattle, is there to make the tackle. Miller, Bird, Subalua, and Patu, the down 4. The linebackers, and it all starts with 44, Peter Sermon. And in the secondary, they start a true freshman at the right cornerback spot. It's Rashad Bowman. Third down. The line to make is the 38-yard line. 7-0 if you've just joined us. It was Oregon scoring on the first play from scrimmage, 69 yards. Option outside. Morgan gets the pitch, and there's not much there for Ruff as Bowman comes up from the cornerback spot, the young man we were just talking about. And Mike, I think you could tell right there, Morgan is definitely encumbered as far as quick movement.
Yeah, and he made a quick pitch there, but you look at the Ducks there defensively getting penetration up the field. They've worked hard against the option. They've had a long period of time to practice to see it, and they reacted well in the first series.
Kirkland, the punter, waits for the snap back at the 18-yard line. And Pat Johnson, the man who scored a moment ago, is back deep. He signals for the fair catch and makes it at the 23-yard line. 42 yards on that punt by Jason Kirkland, the junior out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. So we didn't get to check the Oregon offense a moment ago. They scored so quickly. Akili Smith at quarterback. Saladin McCullough, the leading rusher in the Pac-10 this year, along with Eric Wynn. And the receiver, Spence, the tight end, Johnson, who scored, and Hartley. And the offensive line, they don't have a lot of reserves here. Aguirre, DeVries, Moan, Daly, and Clues. Daly probably the most consistent. Clues has played every position on that offensive line except center. Here's McCullough. Has 5, has 10. He's loose in the secondary. McCullough is going to take this the distance. 2 plays and 2 touchdowns for the Oregon Ducks. 76 yards. Plays, 145 yards of offense for Oregon.
And the most skill, again, that Air Force has seen this year. Saladin McCullough may be the best tailback in the country nobody knows about. Outstanding running back, you see, with a good cutback here, good moves in the secondary, and the speed now to take off and lead Tim Curry, number 5. Very, very talented running back, Saladin McCullough.
And it also breaks the rushing record that he was going after. Ahmad Rashad, who was Bobby Moore at the time at Oregon, is the man who held it.
Ron, this is so important. Again, when you're playing a wishbone team, you jump out early. Force the wishbone team to play to your tempo, not to theirs.
Now Fisher DeBerry challenging his players from the sideline. A celebration penalty stepped off against Oregon. And Frankel is going to be attempting this one from 35 yards away. They'll put it down at the 25. It's a low pass, and the kick is no good. Wide left. Good pressure up front by the Air Force Academy. They have blocked 11 kicks this year. Punts, extra points, and field goals. So there's a break in the action. 13-0, Oregon.
Look at this place. The Caesar's Palace. You are one lucky lady. Hey, let me tell you about all the new stuff. Why? Because you deserve the best. Let's talk new tower. 1,200 rooms, each with its own private spa tub, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I picture a goddess like you lounging in the new pools. And trust me, you're gonna love the new shops and shows. Be honest, you're impressed, aren't you? So, you hungry? You want to hear about the restaurants? No. Venus! Need a hand with those bags?
At Gateway, choosing the right computer is easy. You can get a complete system and printer for only $14.99. A system with a Pentium 2 processor for just $19.99. Or a system with the fastest Pentium 2 processor available for $24.99. So no matter which system you pick, you'll definitely be a winner. Gateway systems feature Intel Pentium 2 processors. Call us and we'll help you decide which one is right for you.
experiencing ultimate luxury. Maybe you're in the wrong car. Introducing a new town car from Lincoln. Still exactly what a luxury car should be.
It's a feast for college football fans. National Car Rental Bowl Week. Coverage begins December 26th, only on ESPN.
Well, a look at the Oregon bench, 13-0. After that 76-yard run from scrimmage, Saladin McCullough. And there you see the single-year rushing leader. Over Bobby Moore in 1971 is when that record was established. And with that 76-yard touchdown run, he needed 19. He got a lot more than that. From the 5, this is Brown. And Brown is going to be stopped around the 25-yard line. And let's check in down on the sideline with Adrian Karsten. Adrian.
Ron, the list of realistic goals for Oregon and the Ducks offense especially was not very long. One of the items on there was get a couple of scores early, because if we can do that, then we have Air Force exactly where they want them. Behind the Oregon bench here, players looking at each other in the eyes, shaking their heads. They didn't even believe they could do it this early.
And I caution you, this Air Force football team is not going to die here.
Straight ahead on the carry. It'll go for a couple as Bowman comes up to make the tackle for Oregon, and they're going to say it's a gain of 1. The biggest thing for Oregon, you can see him dive into the line with the ball right there, is mobility and also what happens when he takes a lick on that spot, Mike.
There's no doubt, and again the push, especially when he's going to the right side, using that leg as a plant leg to make his cut up the field.
Well, they want a counter, and there's nothing. Ruff going to be hit and knocked down for a yard loss at the 25. And just what the Air Force didn't want is 3rd and long against this defense of Oregon.
And Ron, when you look at the statistics, Oregon ranks last in the Pac-10 in rush defense and 91st in the nation. They're the worst 3rd down defense in the Pac-10. But yet they've had some time to work against this option. But now Fisher DeBerry and his offensive coaches will look to tinker with some adjustments to get their option game going. And I think they will get it going.
13-0. Oregon jumps out on top in this one. And they run the counter. It's Ruff. Gets outside on the left, 30, 35, and I believe he's got the first down. He does. The initial first down of the afternoon for the Air Force Academy.
And when you play Air Force, 3rd and 10 doesn't mean pass. It means run most of the time. Tobin Ruff, number 19, that motion to the right side. Yet everybody on that side, and there's a missed tackle.
Fletcher.
By Michael Fletcher, the safety. Now, the safeties are so big in the option. They're running downhill all the time. Figueres and Fletcher should have big days in the secondary if they stop the option.
Well, here's the fullback, and he will take it for a couple as Gilliam is hit by Garth White. Now, basically, Mike, you say that Air Force has like 4 plays that they run. They run variations off those plays, but that's it. Sounds simple, but it's more difficult than that to try to stop.
It is, Ron, because the 4 plays are blocked a lot of different ways. What they look to see is what you do defensively, and they capitalize on that by giving you some different blocking schemes, and that's why they can do it, because they only run 4 plays.
See the man in motion. They roll the pocket and the pass. That really got away as the pass is overthrown. Chandler, the intended receiver. Eric Edwards came over to make the hit.
Well, you made a point now yesterday, 2 days ago when we were watching practice. The crown on this field is so big, I think that caused that incompletion, because when you're throwing from the middle of the field and you haven't played on a crown this high, you know, you're going to throw high off to the side sometimes.
This is almost an option kind of field, but particularly when you pitch wide a lot.
It's perfect for running downhill toward the hashes or toward the out-of-bounds mark.
It's third down, and Mike, the line to make is the 46. You can see the late change, the stem on the part of the Oregon defense. And here they come to the outside. Morgan will keep it, takes it out to the 43-yard line as Garth White again is there to make the tackle, and it's punting time for the Air Force Academy.
Again, a good series by the Ducks on defense. Michael Fletcher, number 1, and you can see Blaine Morgan. They cannot afford to lose him, Ron. Cale Bonds is the backup quarterback, number 12. The 2 games they lost this year was Blaine Morgan didn't play.
So it means that Jason Kirkland will come on his first punt, 43 yards, and Oregon got very close to that one. However, I'd look for them to have a return on here. And on a line drive kick, they do. This is Johnson. Pat Johnson, who has the 69-yard touchdown return, and he will be stopped at the 30-yard line. Well, college basketball tonight on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern. Tulsa takes on Kentucky at Rupp Arena, followed by Jerry Tarkanian and Fresno State meeting Minnesota. Then after Sports Center, it's back here to Las Vegas for the shootout. Syracuse and UNLV at midnight. Also, you can catch game 1 from the Las Vegas shootout, UMass and Colorado, right here on ESPN2 at 9:30 following the game. Well, let's see here if Air Force they would have a first if they stop them on first down here, because both plays that they have had in the 2 series have gone for touchdowns. Randy Crystal, the referee, with the flag coming down and stoppage of play.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and remains first down.
They stopped him.
Well, they still got first down, though, Mike.
Ron, the other thing you look for in this ball game now that Pat Johnson showed his speed and McCullough is Tony Hartley and Blake Spence, the tight end. They benefit because now all of a sudden you got to double Johnson and you got to start crowding the line of scrimmage for the run.
And the quick pass out here, they've got it complete, and that is Brust. And Brust is going to go over the 30 to the 31-yard line. Air Force possibly lucky that they didn't get a late penalty there as Stain Pine made the tackle, and then there was some help coming in a little bit after the whistle.
Yeah, you can't dig that hole continually deeper and make mistakes, and that's the thing about Air Force. They don't make mistakes, so you have to beat a disciplined football team.
Brust and Hartley go to the top of your screen. That's Jokes, who is moving behind the center as McCullough gets the handoff, and it's going to be stopped after a gain of about 4 at the 35-yard line. Jason Sanderson comes up to make the hit on him, and for the first time in the ball game, it's a 3rd down situation for Oregon.
Now, there's 2 plays now, unless I'm mistaken, that Pat Johnson's not been in the ball game. Now, this is the 3rd one, unless he's coming back in the ball game.
Back,
okay.
Yeah.
So he must have been winded from that long pass reception.
Well, Air Force has already given up half a point more than they average given up for the entire season. Let's see if they can pick up the first down. They need the 40-yard line. Keely Smith going to throw. Straight drop. Got Johnson at the 45. And he is finally going to be pushed out of bounds at around the 47 by Curry. And one of the things that Fisher DeBerry said to me just before this ball game was, I am extremely concerned about not what they catch, it's what they do after they catch the football.
Well, they did a good job there, but on the snap of the ball, you're going to see number 5, Tim Curry, just bail out. He's bailing out because of the respect for the speed of Pat Johnson.
Well, there was a flag down on the play, and Oregon is taking a walk back.
He's a talented wide receiver. Prep All-American sprinter. Played only 1 year high school football. He was a running back in a wing T offense.
Ineligible receiver downfield. It'll be a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 3rd down.
So the lineman got downfield. Obviously, as you saw, Johnson caught the ball not behind the line of scrimmage, but caught it downfield.
Now, Ron, they've got so many weapons, but remember, Keely Smith is such a good athlete at the quarterback position. He can run also.
Bill Meade, the 40-yard line. Smith steps up into the pocket. Pressure is on. This is where Smith can absolutely kill you. He goes out of bounds, and then he delivers the blow out of bounds. And the Air Force player Pipes gets up looking like, wait a minute, I can't hit him out of bounds. How come he can hit me out of bounds?
And that's the question he's asking the official.
Because Akili is 6'3", 215 pounds. Pipes is only 192. And Pipes had a legitimate gripe. Watch this. All right, he's going to go out of bounds right there, and then he delivers the blow. I'm sorry. That's 15 Oregon. Oh, my. And Pipes was upset.
Pipes says, next time I'll hit him.
That's right. And it'll cost him 15. You can book that. Josh Bidwell to punt it away. Now, as I mentioned, 11 times Air Force has blocked a kick this year. He has not had a kick blocked in 3 years.
And the key is Tim Curry. He's blocked 5 kicks, number 5.
They're coming after him, and he gets it away. Nice punt also. Farmer gets open, 40, 45, and he takes it just shy of the 50-yard line. 44 yards in the punt and 19 on the return, and the Air Force will take it over with their best field position. We'll be right back after this.
In the right hands, their magic wand.
We're going to do this one the hard way.
An investment that will pay off year after year.
Now we're going to shoot the 4-2 combination all the way down.
It's knowing you own the best. McDermott's for great shots and great times on and off the table. It's McDermott's. Call now for the free catalog that'll put the best in your hands. 1-800-POOL-Q. McDermott. Simply the best.
ESPN's punt, pass, and sit. Standard practice in preventing field goals. Utilize the diving block to prevent a channel change from Sunday Night NFL. It's ESPN's Sunday Night NFL.
The pyramid builders died of exhaustion. Instead of working in sensible shifts, they never watched hockey. Now they're dead. Watch the NHL on ESPN2 before life passes you by.
Well, they thought they were in Las Vegas, but some of the Oregon Duck players found themselves in New York this week. The theme resort along the Strip is a striking resemblance to the real thing. Shocking, in fact. One last final way just before the game. Plenty for everybody to enjoy all week long here on the Strip in Las Vegas.
Ron, this is the series now. I look for Air Force to exploit this Duck defense a little bit. Now this third series, they've had a look at what they're doing to them for 2 series. They'll change some blocking schemes here. Let's see what see if they can free Gilliam, the fullback.
Gilliam, number 21, a junior out of Lone Oak, Arkansas. And here's the pitch. This is Singleton, and great one-on-one coverage for Garris from that free safety position. Will make the tackle. And Adrian, let's check in with you.
The entire Falcon bench was holding their breath as Blaine Morgan came off that last series after the first real shot he took to that right thigh. But so far so good as far as the pain is concerned, gentlemen. Here's the case. What they've done is to create more space between where the deep bruise is and the thigh board so he can actually absorb more shock.
Okay, we'll watch it closely, Adrian. It is a 2nd down and 12, and straight ahead with the fullback to the 50-yard line. White and Sermon come up to make the tackle on Gilliam. 13-0 if you've just joined us. Oregon, 7:10 to play, opening quarter. As amazingly, Oregon on 2 snaps of the football threw a touchdown pass 69 yards, and that one was to wide receiver Pat Johnson, and then a 76-yard run from scrimmage by Saladin McCullough, the leading rusher in the Pac-10 this past year. 3rd down. They need the 40 of Oregon. Pressure up the middle, pass, a throwback. Good heavens, had Ruff wide open. Ruff looked like the first guy out to the warm-up practice and just overthrew him, Mike.
Had him against the linebacker, and he was open. It just Blaine Morgan just couldn't get him the football. Remember now, Ron, again, he hasn't practiced for 4 or 5 days. So when you don't practice, these things happen. You throw the ball high, you throw it high from the middle of the field to the sideline. He knows he's just going to settle down a little bit.
Now let's see if Jason Kirkland will punt this ball away to Pat Johnson. The coaches said they would try not to kick to him. They would, if nothing else, make him catch it on the run. Good high coverage kick. Fair catch is signaled for. Runs away from it and goes into the end zone. 50 yards on the punt. Well, National Car Rental Bowl Week kicks off on ESPN Friday night with the inaugural Ford Motor City Bowl. The Mid-American Conference champion Marshall Thundering Herd take on the Ole Miss Rebels from the Pontiac Silverdome. Heisman Trophy finalist and fourth-place finisher Randy Moss will try to strut his stuff against one of this year's surprise teams for the SEC. Friday night, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Keely Smith operates at quarterback, youngster out of San Diego, California. And they go with the running play to McCullough, and he's going to be stopped after 3. Ron Jenkins, the nose guard, a senior for the Air Force Academy out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, is the man who comes over to make the stop. Well, the guy I mentioned as the lineups came through, here's the heart and soul right here. Chris Gizzy, a senior out of Brunswick, Ohio, 6 feet 233. And led Division 1A in tackles with 179. And Mike, I'll get you to explain a little bit more how, but has had over 50 stitches taken in his forehead and nose this year. He's a throwback. Second down to draw place. This is McCullough, and he is hit hard by Pipes. Steve Pipes up out of the secondary. It's going to be third down at about 3.5.
Ron, you talk about Chris Gizzy, just an outstanding linebacker. His dad, Al, is the inside linebacker coach at Baldwin Wallace College, but he kept cutting his nose and bleeding more and more. So finally, the coaches just said, we're not going to wear a helmet when he practices, because if he has the helmet on, he's going to hit people. So they made him keep his helmet off the entire practice.
And look at the major, human behavior.
Chris Gizzy, kind of guy that you love to coach. Pass, caught in the flat. That's Hartley. Hartley is more the possession type receiver, and receivers hate to hear that, because what you're saying in a kind way is they're not quite as fast as like the world-class sprinter like Pat Johnson.
No, but Tony Hartley is going to benefit the most because of Pat Johnson's first play in the ball game. Now, Tony Hartley was heavily recruited by UCLA and USC, and Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, said he's the most consistent receiver, and we should have him one-on-one today, and they do have him one-on-one.
Keely Smith now 3 of 3, 82 yards and a touchdown. On first down, sets deep in the pocket. He's going to go on top again, and Pat Johnson is down there, and he just lost it. Mike, I thought that ball was close enough to, he didn't pull up lame, did he?
No, but I'll tell you, Frank Steenpine grabbed him about halfway down the field, and he's hurt. The corner, which is bad news for Air Force. But you're going to see number 20, Frank Steenpine, against Pat Johnson.
He pulled up lame.
He pulled up lame, and he kind of bumped him a little bit, and I'm not sure he shouldn't have caught that football.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Johnson lost the ball for a moment in this high sky.
Well, the little bump that he got from Frank Steenpine.
So Steenpine out of the ball game, and number 10, Donald Hayes, a junior out of San Diego, comes in at that cornerback spot. Meanwhile, McCullough runs it back into the boundary, still on his feet, and he'll take it for a gain of about 6. That's an awfully good run right there. Gizzy making the tackle for the Air Force Academy.
Saladin McCullough, as I said earlier, is as good a tailback as probably there is in this country, and doesn't get the notoriety that most of the tailbacks across the country get.
Smog, I beg your pardon. Nishan Smog, number 10, is the gentleman who has come in at cornerback, replacing Steenpine. Clock running, about to go under 4 minutes to play. Opening quarter. Oregon 13-0. They have a third down, and they need 4. Well, Air Air Force jumped first. They got back, and then Oregon jumped. So Akili Smith is applauding. Steve Fernandez is the man. I think it's going to be called for offsides, number 56.
Offside on the defense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty sufficient for a first down.
We can't give them those type of breaks because you're having a tough enough time stopping them. The speed difference in this ball game, I think, is just great for Air Force right now. They have not faced a team with the skill that Oregon has this year.
No question. And when you lose Stain Pine, who is normally the field corner, and Smog comes in, who normally doesn't, he's only a sophomore, then you got double headache each side of the field. Here comes McCullough. Waits for his block, cuts in behind him at the 50, and he will have about 7 yards in the play as we check in again with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Stain Pine walked past me moments ago, guys. He is headed toward the locker room with a pulled groin muscle. Very doubtful that he is going to continue. And they said it was just primarily trying to keep up with Johnson stride for stride. That's how he pulled the muscle.
Well, that is just as Blaine Morgan being injured at quarterback to lose this guy, because it's just what it sounds. Your field corner is the guy who always draws normally. He's got the open field to cover. He's your best guy.
And they're going to put Hartley on Smog, number 10, and they're going to work him.
Pass in the flat, incomplete. That was to the tight end, Jelks.
Ron, I'll tell you who was wide open on that play. Pat Johnson came clear, but Akili Smith didn't look down the field. When you roll out like that, you always look to the deep throw first and the quarterback, and Akili Smith took his eyes off of number 83 Johnson. Look at how open he gets. Just didn't watch down the field deep. You always, when you run a bootleg, you always want the big play first.
You see the numbers on Smith, almost 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Very dynamic personality, and as his coach Dirk Cutter said, just a very charismatic guy as well. Pass right over the middle, that's tipped. I think it was Gizzy. Yep. Chris Gizzy got an arm or a shoulder pad on it. The ball was knocked away as Kevin Parker, who was listed as a running back, also lines up at wide receiver for them.
Number 24, Kevin Parker, and Gizzy just hit his helmet, number 51.
Sure did.
But a big stop again for the Air Force defense, because they were headed for a rout here if they'd have let him go in one more time.
First punt of the afternoon for Bidwell was 40 yards. And let's keep an eye and see if the Air Force Academy comes after him again. Always have to know where number 5 is.
A tough area to block a kick, because you always got to worry about the fake. Once you cross there and get close to that 50-yard line.
Farmer calls for the fair catch and takes it to Air Force bounce and goes dead around the 18. And let's check in again with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Ron, interesting item about a lot of these football players who give you that Darth Vader look with that plate across the front of their face mask, particularly in Chris Gizzy's standpoint. This is actually a protective plate that he has that he can obviously see through, but because he bleeds so much and gets so much blood in his eyes, this actually helps him to see better. The plate is actually corrective, helps his vision, and if he starts bleeding, the referees won't see it and take him out of the game.
Well, that nose, we'll get a closer shot of it before the afternoon is over, as Morgan cuts it upfield, and he took a pretty good shot on the thigh there by Peter Sermon.
Go back to the Gizzy story, and Cal McCombs was talking about his nose, and he said he dropped an interception in a ball game and came off to the sidelines, and he was bleeding so much, he said, I lost it because of blood in my eyes. And Cal McCombs says, how can I argue with that? I mean, how can I give him X?
Cal also said that there's something inspirational about Gizzy when he comes off the field bleeding the way he does. He said he's an emotional and inspirational leader.
And nobody's going to come off with a sprained ankle on that ball club.
That's right. There's the pitch. This is rough. And breaks the tackle, then gets tattooed at the 25-yard line by Figueres.
Nice tackle by Jael Figueres, number 22.
It's like a cut man in the corner. See, Carmen Basilio. You remember Carmen?
Oh, I mean, he used to get cut all the time.
Yeah, he did. That's
Freddie Pacheco. Throw some barking. Freddie Pacheco.
Freddie, I started to say, rather than Freddie.
Well, Freddie's his brother.
Oh, man, it's still the first quarter. 2:03 left to play in this opening quarter, which has been a very long quarter by the way.
If Air Force jumps out, you got a quick game. Oregon jumps out, you got a game that's going to take a while.
Third down, and they need to take it to the 29-yard line to get the first. Morgan, here comes the pitch. Singleton, and Singleton with the second effort, I believe, yes, picked up the first down. Figueres up from that free safety spot there to make the tackle.
You have to be impressed the way the Ducks are playing defense, though, here in the first quarter. They have taken it to Air Force's offense.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Also, as tough as it is to play a wishbone team, you did have the extra time, but you're also playing a one-dimensional team rather than a two-dimensional team. So that allows you to put your focus just on that.
It's easier from that aspect, but eventually, as soon as you say that, they're going to throw a pass here and catch you with a post.
Here comes a reverse as they pitch it back. Farmer fumbles it, gets a good hop, and now turns it upfield. And Farmer is a flyer. Michael Fletcher knocked him out of bounds. Michael, a sophomore out of Paramount, California.
Just what you were talking about, oh. Those are the things right there. The reverse, the pass, the things you don't see during the weeks that you're preparing for this wishbone offense. He got a nice bounce, Matt Farmer, but if he would have caught that,
he might have been gone.
He would have scored a touchdown, I believe, because it was wide open.
It gave him just that extra count, 1,001, to react and get back over to the football. So back-to-back first downs for the Academy. Setting to throw, going to go long and incomplete. The cover on the play was Bowman, and the Air Force folks thought that possibly interference should have been called as Newman, the intended receiver.
Bowman's a freshman corner that started from the first day on the campus. He's 5'8", 165. Working against Dylan Newman, number 9. Looks like pretty good coverage. Ron, the fullback, has been silent in the Air Force offense this first quarter, and he's the leading rusher.
You're right. Gilliam is the man, number 21. This time he's blocking as the pitch goes to Rupp. And Rupp is going to take it for about 2.5 yards. Peter Sermon, whose name we've already called about 3 times, is outside to make the tackle. But this is one of the things that when you talk with the Air Force coaches and anybody who runs this offense, at times, and they even admitted, they talked about yesterday, it is boring. They're going to run the same play at you time and time again, block it a little differently, then run a counter off that to score it.
You got to have a lot of patience calling the game when you're a wishbone coach, because it just takes a little while for you to get that big play.
Well, play action, and this pass incomplete. Newman, the intended receiver, and he had fallen down. Good thing that Bowman was not right there.
I believe you're watching a quarterback throw today that just hasn't practiced because of his injury, and that is affecting his performance here in the first quarter.
Well, you see, he's yet to hit anybody. 0-5. And again, they have to kick it away to the ever-dangerous Pat Johnson, number 83. Took a 69-yard bomb for a touchdown on their first possession. This is a nice kick. Fair catch called for, and again it goes over his head and into the end zone. So that's going to be a kick of about 53 yards and nothing on the return. And we have 13 seconds left in this opening quarter.
Air Force needs a turnover on defense because their offense is struggling a little bit. They need something to happen on this side of the ball, and it's been like a heavyweight fight here. The Ducks have just controlled this side of the ball, and they have the best players.
LaCorey Collins down at the bottom of the screen. A redshirt freshman, huge for a wide receiver at 6'4.5", 215. McCullough, no place to run, and they're going to knock him down for a loss. One of the rare times that he has been caught today. Bryce Fisher, the first man there. You can see the starting and stopping ability of McCullough, though. And that is the end of the first quarter. So let's take a timeout with our score. Oregon 13, the Air Force Academy nothing.
starring David Cassidy at the MGM Grand.
Ты отдохнешь. Мы снова будем счастливы. Будем жить долго, долго, долго. Нам повезем жизнь новую, светлую.
Why get a buffer just to polish a weather vane? Why buy a drill if you just want to hang mini blinds? Why buy a sander just to unstick a door? Why struggle with a hacksaw just to cut a closet organizer? Wouldn't it be better to have one tool that handles all those jobs and more? Then why not trust the rotary tool more than 10 million people already rely on? The Dremel rotary tool. Ask anyone who knows. It's the real deal. Also available cordless.
The new Lincoln Town Car poses a dilemma for your accountant. Is it travel or entertainment? The new Town Car from Lincoln. Still exactly what a luxury car should be.
Well, we're back in Las Vegas as the lights come on. It gets dark a little early here, and it's clouding up a bit. Defensive numbers in that first quarter. Sermon for Oregon with 3.5 tackles, 3 of those solo, and Figueroa with 2.5. Pikes for Air Force with 1.5, and Gizzy with 1. Second down and about 12. Keely Smith sets up the screen, and the ball loose on the ground, and in fact, that was almost picked off.
Almost intercepted. They were trying to go to Saladin McCullough, the tailback, on a middle screen, and Air Force read it. Now what are they discussing here? First 2 plays, Ron, you can see the explosiveness, and
maybe hit a lineman with it, Mike.
That's probably what he did. That's probably what they're going to call.
Yeah,
ineligible receiver.
Randy Crystal.
Illegal touching by an ineligible receiver. It'll be a loss of down. 3rd down.
Penalties have hurt the Ducks.
Oh, they really have.
Because they haven't been stopped.
That's like 5 penalties on Oregon already. But I'll tell you, folks, it's about the only thing that slowed them down. As you could see by that graphic a moment ago, the first 2 plays, 145 yards. And since then, they have gotten kind of human.
They may be sleepwalking a little bit here, Ron, because they had so much success in those first 2 plays.
Air Force shows blitz, but they stay at home. And Smith is hit and is sacked. That is Bryce Fisher, who takes him down hard at the 6-yard line.
Well, Bryce Fisher led the defensive lineman with 35 tackles this year. He's the best defensive lineman. Comes up with a key play here. And Ron, now that sets up, you see the good swim move, and he just gets by Michael Clues. But that sets up the possible punt block right now.
You're exactly right. So let's make sure that we know where number 5 is. Right now, Curry is lined up on the left side on the outside.
11 kicks they blocked this year have led to 53 points. Let's see if they can get one more.
There's Curry. Farmer is the deep man. And they're coming after him. He gets it away. Plenty of time, and it's a great kick. Wow, this is doing it under pressure. And just as he catches the ball, here comes a flag. Obviously, there was not enough space. McLemore is the guy who got downfield and did not give enough room. And, Mike, here's a question that some coaches are asking. That this would be only a 5-yard penalty, and coaches think this should be a 15-yard penalty because you could injure somebody.
Yeah, really could. I thought he timed this up pretty close, so I'd like to see that again.
McLemore looks as though he injured himself, and he has been hurt.
Well, that was awful close.
Yep.
Brandon McLemore, number 9, looked like he had timed up pretty close.
Violation of the 2-yard halo. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and a 1st down.
McLemore already had been injured coming into this ball game, and he looks as though well, it may be a time before he comes back into the ball game as they check over his left knee.
Ron, if I was coaching him, I'd tell him just go on and do the things you just did there, because it looked pretty good to me.
And as we mentioned, only a 5-yard penalty. They bring the option back to the open side of the field, and the pitch at the last moment. Brown knocked out of bounds at around the 35. Valario Brown, a freshman out of Lake City, South Dakota. And they may have to use him more, Mike. He's the fastest. He's the least experienced, but he gives them some quick steps.
They say without a doubt, I was talking to Ben Martin, a former Air Force coach who does the radio here. He said by far he's the best back. Has the most speed, and he's the most productive guy. A freshman, 5'11", 175.
As we said, out of Lake City, South Carolina. Hill is the fullback, and he gets the handoff. Hill takes it straight ahead for 2, maybe 3 yards. Patu, Sao Patu, a redshirt freshman out of Seattle, is on the bottom of the pile, number 48. Also, you can see Jeff Simpson, number 58, in the area.
We were talking earlier about the fullbacks. The fullbacks has to make so many runs in this offense, but when they combine, the fullbacks for Air Force combined for more than 100 yards rushing. They're 5-0 this year. And in the decade, 27-6. So it's a fullback-oriented offense.
Look at the splits on the offensive line again, Mike.
Splits.
They are very, very wide.
They brought him stemming. Now they're checking off.
Straight ahead. Nope, they go with the pitch. Turns it up as Singleton inside the 30 to the 29.5-yard line. Good fake by Hill, the fullback, that time.
Excellent fake. And Michael Fletcher, the safety, again, had a chance at the line of scrimmage to make a tackle and stop that play with no gain, but missed the tackle. See the ball get kicked out. Now here's Michael Fletcher, number 1. He has a chance there to make a play and misses that tackle.
So it is 3rd down. And Air Force needs to take it to the Oregon 24. Air Force trails 13-0. And I would dare say this is 4-down territory for them.
I think you're right at this point in the ball game.
They roll the pocket. Pressure is on, and he throws long. And it is knocked away by Bowman at the last moment.
Great defense by Rashad Bowman, number 17. Did exactly what he needed to do. The out and up by Matt Farmer.
And we see no movement on the sideline.
No,
so the kicking team not coming on. This is what they got to do. They got to go for the 4th down situation.
Good coverage here. I think you'll see a run here now, Ron. I'd be surprised if it's a throw, but nothing should surprise us today and in Las Vegas. So see if they come back with the option here.
And they're calling a timeout. Mike Barron, number 85, had come way out to the left side as a wide receiver, and he turned and said, let's take a timeout. We'll take it with him. 12:21 remaining until halftime, and it's Oregon continuing to lead 13-0.
Lighter yet stronger. More power from less space. More space from less size. A drag coefficient among the lowest in the world. There's more than a pattern emerging here. It's the world's first use of cyber synthesis, where vehicles are designed, built, and tested in the virtual world so they'll perform better in the real world. The new Durango and the new Intrepid. New vision from the new Dodge.
17, Houston, you are go for orbit.
He led the team that sent mankind into space through the triumphant Apollo 11 and the harrowing Apollo 13.
Let's solve the problem.
Flight Director Gene Kranz set a standard for excellence that'll never be equaled. His credo, failure is not an option, gave us a future as vast as space itself.
The legacy is to teach people to dream, to set their goals very high and then never surrender.
State Farm salutes life heroes because State Farm understands life.
My mother was a concert violinist, and she learned to play in the gypsy camps, and she wowed them. I have 9 grandchildren, and I am writing this book for them. My father, he was quite a showy fellow. When my mother first introduced him to her family, their response was, "Shall we shoot him now or wait till later?" It's all there to see in my first published work. I never thought I'd sit still long enough to write it.
The Las Vegas Bowl on ESPN2 is presented by Las Vegas. It's non-stop action around the clock, and we're open 24 hours. And in part by the new Dodge. It's about change. Don't know if you've ever been to the Las Vegas area or not. That's Hoover Dam, and truly one of the magnificent things that you've ever seen. To look at that gorge and how they put that gigantic dam in there, Mike.
I saw Chevy Chase go across that in Las Vegas Vacation.
Well, I saw it in person, Mike. It was a little more impressive that way. 4th down. They got to take it to the 24-yard line. Air Force sets up as though they're going to throw. They do. They got him open, and he dropped the football. Good heavens. Brown had it hit him in the wrong place, in the mittens. Whew, and he dropped it. Oregon takes over. That should have been a 1st down.
Got him turned around a little bit. Q Brown should have made that catch. But now, again, the Air Force defense has to come out and try to shut down this talented offensive football team. Looks like we're going to see a quarterback change here, Ron.
Yep.
Jason Moss.
Junior out of Yuma, Arizona. Sets in the pocket, got all the room in the world on the left side, has 5, 10, and about 13 yards, and is tackled, and now here comes the flag.
Tim Curry, number 5, I believe, hit him out of bounds. Jason Moss, in 8 games, Ron, threw 13 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions. He was the starting quarterback in wins over Fresno and Utah. Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, said he deserves to play in this ball game. We're a 2-quarter. I don't know. There's another one now. He was close to that out of bounds mark.
Well, the thing that Air Force has to complain about as you look at Akili Smith on the sideline is the play where Pipes got hit by Akili Smith after the play was dead and there was no flag. This one cost the Air Force dearly.
Yeah, that was close right there.
Moss, 95 of 172. Almost 56% completion percentage, over 1,400 yards, and he threw 15 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. Play action, goes up on top and well off the mark. Blake Spence, the intended receiver. Blake, an interesting player, a senior out of San Juan Capistrano, California, 6'4", 245 at a senior. And the coaches think, and from what the scouts have said, is that Spence is going to get a lot of looks by the pros.
Well, he's an outstanding tight end, Ron. He's 6'4", 245, a good pass receiver, and Jason Moss just missed him on that play.
So it's 2nd down. Hartley comes to the bottom of the screen along with Pat Johnson. And it's McCullough tries to get outside on the right, and he's going to be stopped after a gain of only 1. And now it's going to be 3rd down and long for Oregon as Tim Schumacher, a senior from Avon Lake, Ohio, makes the tackle for the Air Force Academy.
And Ron, Akili Smith, Jason Moss, and you're looking on the sideline at Joey Harrington. They think, the coaches think that very well that he could be the starting quarterback next year, even though Moss and Smith are back. He's an excellent athlete. A lot of coaches believe that he will be the starter next year.
By the way, speaking of Harrington, he's been the option quarterback. He's been playing the part of Air Force this week. 3rd down. They need to take it to the 32. Moss's pass going long is going to be well overthrown, not even close to Hartley, and it will be punting time for the Ducks.
Excellent defense by Air Force. If they want to win this football, and there's a flag down on the, it's going to be holding on the Ducks. If they want to stay in this football game, their defense has to do it right now till their offense schemes the Duck defense.
Holding on the offense. The penalties declined. 4th down.
Ron, here's the part of the field that you worry about a fake. Anytime they're inside the 50-yard line, you've got to be defensive players figure out the eligible receivers.
Josh Bidwell stands back waiting for the snap at his own 45 and aims this one for the sideline, and he got it. Maybe a little quicker than he wanted to as the official moves up, and still walking. They say right there at the 17-yard line. So a good job by Bidwell. 24 yards in the kick, but the results, well, Air Force is going to have to scrimmage from deep in their own territory. We'll be right back.
Merlin is my name.
Hey!
Excuse me.
I didn't conjure you up. Why, no.
So I'm back.
Describe Las Vegas in 4 words.
Fantastic, colorful,
Exciting.
fairyland.
Do you like men in armor? Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the magic carpet. Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
You wouldn't believe it.
Every time we come back, it's something new.
America's favorite playground. Can I keep them? Come on, give it up for Las Vegas!
We thought about shaving so you could think about something else. Brawn, smart thinking.
Just when you think you know where the new Dodge is headed, they turn things around on you. Introducing Durango, a whole new kind of roomy, powerful, versatile sport utility. As you can see, the new Dodge is covering new ground, some of which seems to be covering me. Durango, new ground for the new Dodge.
Dad, Mom.
You'll find gifts for everyone on your list.
Oh, yeah, Diane, Uncle Bill.
At low holiday prices.
The mailman.
At the Ace Great Wrap-Up Sale, so hurry in before we wrap it up.
It's a feast for college football fans. National Car Rental Bull Week. Coverage begins December 26th, only on ESPN.
Well, the stratosphere here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as the sun is trying to go down behind those mountains to the west. Partly cloudy day, but much better than what we had anticipated. Winds were supposed to blow like 35 miles an hour, and that simply has not come about. You have to wonder if they were, if Oregon would have been able to throw a 69-yard touchdown pass in the first play. Right?
They just needed the wind behind their back.
Morgan, no place to go, going to be tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. Miller, and the one thing that Oregon is doing, they are getting a push, causing Morgan, instead of running down the line of scrimmage parallel to his back, he literally is taking a couple of back steps. It's screwing up the timing of everything.
They're getting penetration, Ron. When you have big splits, you can see the big splits of Air Force right here, their offensive line. And when you get those big splits, you have a choice. You can move out with them, or you can take them, and Oregon's taking them and getting up the field.
So it is second down at about 12 yards for the first as they go in a quick count straight ahead with the fullback. A gain of about 3 in the play. Up until that play, fullbacks for Air Force only had combined total of 8 yards. It is Matt Perota who's in the ball game now. And, of course, they are, as Mike has mentioned, a fullback-oriented football team. So when the fullbacks only have now, this is going to make it about 11 yards, then obviously they got problems.
Yeah, they cannot run the option successfully unless you set that fullback up, because that's what opens everything. They're running down time-wise here, too. They're 8 seconds, 7.
Going to have to hurry. 2 seconds down to 1. He didn't get it off. That's delay of game against Air Force. There comes the late flag, and he takes a hit. And, boy, talk about costly. He got whacked to the ground by Fletcher. And, well, anyway.
That play came in so late from the side that he didn't have a chance.
But they should have avoided having the quarterback decked like that, is my point.
Right.
There's no flag. Dead ball, delay of game. On the offense, it remains third down.
Yeah, tell the quarterback there's no play.
Yeah, it's easy for him to say.
I mean, the kid is already hurt. I mean, right here, it's got to be dead. Got to be dead. Got to be dead. They're still coming, and they crutch him.
You know, the problem, Ron, is the official that calls the delay a game is some
way down
30 yards away, and they just didn't hear his whistle. Well, this is if your defense, Rich Stubler, the defensive coordinator, has done a nice job. You like to get Air Force in 3rd and 14.
Counter play and nothing. Going to be a loss of 3, maybe 4 more yards. Bird and Nicoloa there to make the stop for Oregon, and the Air Force offense right now is going nowhere.
Well, an Oregon defense that the worst 3rd down defense in the Pac-10 this year has given a great effort here in the first half against this Air Force wishbone offense.
Well, we have touted the Air Force block. This would be a heck of a spot for Oregon to come after him, and they do have 10 men at the line of scrimmage as he waits 6 yards deep in his own end zone. And they're coming after him, and they get it. Block, loose in the end zone, recovered for the touchdown.
Garrett Sable, number 35, I believe, blocked it, Ron.
Sable, I think. Sable blocked it. And the touchdown is scored by Parker, the reserve running back.
Well, they get close early in the ball game twice. They just ran over the personal protector. And Sable with the block.
Garrett Sable. So the extra point attempt to come. And the Air Force Academy, I'm surprised they're not going for 2 here, Mike, since they missed the extra point. But they're going to try to make it a 20-0 ball game, and there was movement, obviously, before the ball was snapped.
Well, the call is to go for 2 because you want to go up by 3 touchdowns. Now this penalty obviously makes
Dead
it
ball. False start on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, and we're still in the try down.
a kick situation, but the wheels have come off for Air Force, and you could tell early in the ball game when it's down on the field before the ball game, they were concerned about their quarterback. They're concerned about their tight end, Joe Ingram. It's in the hospital. A little flat.
Alex Wright with the extra point attempt. And that one is wide right. No good. So here's the timeout on the field. 8:33 left until halftime. Our new score, Oregon 19 and Air Force nothing.
If you're considering natural hair restoration, remember, Bosley Medical Doctors have performed over 100,000 hair restoration procedures, more than any other group in the world.
Some of these transplants are 19, 20 years old, and they're growing just as strong today as they did in the beginning.
I will never have a hairline any higher than what you see now, ever. And that feels pretty good.
All I would have left up here, right now, without the transplants, would be light hairs. Everything else is transplanted.
We've developed these new ultrafine microtechnologies. That means we can do up to 1,000 or 1,200 micrographs at a time. This makes a much more natural and unobtrusive appearance with our final result.
Simply call the number on your screen for your free information and schedule your free private consultation. Find out for yourself how these remarkable procedures can give you a new head of hair and a whole new outlook on life.
No, you're right, Bob. Your predictions were correct. You're the man, Bob.
Come on.
How'd you get in here?
Be a fan.
I am a fan.
Then you could win the ESPN Be a Fan Ultimate Road Trip presented by Bud Light. Log on to ESPN Sports Zone and predict who'll win each of the Big Monday matchups.
Big Mondays!
You and a friend could hit the road for the ultimate road trip. Go to WAC, Big East, and Big 12 Conference Championship games.
Can I bring Bob?
And a friend.
Bob is my friend.
Hopefully, this man won't win the ESPN Be a Fan Ultimate Road Trip presented by Bud Light. Enter.
Not giving up, baby. 19 is not enough.
Well, there's happiness on the Oregon side of the field for good reason. They just got a blocked punt and have scored, missed a second extra point. Like time of possession, you had talked about how important it would be in this ball game.
Yeah, sometimes statistics lie a little bit. Air Force has 13, 25, 27 plays. Oregon 8:02, but yet they've been able to score so quickly. So it's a little deceiving that Air Force has controlled this ball game time of possession-wise.
Farmer takes it out across the 25 to the 26-yard line. There is Sable. He's the man who blocked that punt just a moment ago.
Ron, watch up inside here. They get so much penetration. They get 3 players, and there's a missed block by the personal protector and the left slot back. Sable with the block, and the Ducks should have gone for 2.
Well, do you see the first play? I mean, the first play of the first drive, first play of the second drive, and then a block punt just a moment ago. Morgan sets, going to go long. He's got a man wide open, and the ball is dropped. Whew. Well, Air Force has had that happen more than once this afternoon, as Ruff was behind the defensive back and possibly could have taken it for a touchdown.
Yeah, but not a good sign when you start to happen to throw. This is a ball club that has made their money and made their wins running the football. And ball run right through the hands of Tobin Ruff. This is a football team, Ron. Unless they run the football, they're not going to beat you. It's the great neutralizer for them.
You see Morgan now 0 of 8, no yards passing.
Even the movement of the Duck defense is causing Air Force problems. They're moving on the offensive line. Pick up a flag here.
Jamal Singleton comes up to ask the officials something.
Dead ball. False start of the offense. And remains second down.
And let's check in with Adrian Karsten. Adrian?
Take a point that Coach was making there moments ago, Ron. Something the defensive line for Oregon has adjusted to here. Rather than read and react to the helmet of the offensive line as Air Force, as many other teams have tried to do to stop the option, they're attacking these guys. They're attacking right up those wide stances, those wide holes as you guys described. That's why they're doing so well. The coach has reminded of them of that point in pregame. Don't read and react. Take it to the ball. Attack right up through there. Make sure you've got your man, and you'll slow him down. That's exactly what they've done.
2 wide receivers come left. That's Farmer and Barron. Morgan under pressure. Throws his pass. This time complete to Ruff. And Ruff goes down at around the 28-yard line. That's the first completion from Oregon.
Michael Fletcher on the tackle. He's had a big-time game here in the first half of the free safety position. Good hard tackle on Ruff. But I thought Mike Bellotti put it best the other day when we had our meeting with the Duck head coach, and he said this might be the first game where we win the pregame warm-ups, meaning that his team looks a lot better than the Air Force physically.
Well, right now he's winning both, the pregame and the real game. Morgan lofts a pass, blown coverage. There's nobody there. Now here comes a flag. The thing is, the flag is on the player that had 3 guys on him.
Oh.
Folks, I'll tell you what, Newman not only looked like the first guy out to practice, he might have been part of the gold rush.
No.
There was no one around.
Dylan Newman was so wide open.
He's walking back toward the huddle as he comes to the sideline, and he's hollering back at Morgan.
Well, they need a score here in this drive.
Pass interference on the defense. It'll be a spot foul and an automatic first down.
Dylan Newman down the field, and you can see how wide open. There is not a safety around him. And there's the holding on Tobin Ruff.
So it's first down for the Air Force Academy, but right now they should be lined up for an extra point. They scrimmage from their own 39-yard line. Pitch comes to Ruff, turns it up, crosses the 45, and close to a first down. In fact, he's going to have it as Singleton, number 24, with an outstanding block on the play.
Ron, I'll say this. If Air Force can go down the field and score a touchdown, not a field goal, if they can go to a touchdown, we've got a ball game, because they're starting to figure some things out here. There's the option. There's the good block that you mentioned by Jamal Singleton, number 24, and Ruff gets a 10-yard gain. Now they start to get the option game going. So you start working outside in now. The outside things are starting to work for Air Force.
You see that late shift on a part of Oregon, and they were offside, lined up offside by about 2 yards, by a yard, I should say. And that flag is going to prove it so they'll have a 1st down and 5 now. And again, as Mike talks about, little mistakes here and there and things that Air Force is figuring out. But I agree with you. They got to take it in and get a touchdown here to be back in this game.
They can't kick a field goal, because if they get that touchdown, then they're back in this ball game. Get a little confidence offensively here. Now, again, when you look at the Duck defense, and I harped on this, they're ranked total defense 102nd in the
Offside
country.
on the defense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
So this is not a defense that's terrorized anybody all year. So once you can get a little success against them and then maybe make them play a little differently, a little tighter ball game, then you can have more success.
Well, those numbers tell it all right there. But they got a cushion at this juncture, 19-0. Play action again, going to go on top, and he missed it and threw the interception. Figueres, it looked as though he was the intended receiver.
Blaine Morgan with a big mistake here. Trying to hit Tobin Ruff down the sideline, and Figueres, the safety, number 22. There's nobody fooled here. Wow, and a big opportunity for Air Force. And now Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, Mike Bellotti, they're going to try to go for the jugular here. I mean, this is a series right here that they could knock out Air Force.
Yep, you're right. They have a 1st down at their own 24. Plenty of time, 6:38 left in this opening half. And here's McCullough breaking tackles and taking it to the 30-yard line, good for about 6 yards. Finnan is there to make the tackle along with Sanderson. You see the numbers on Morgan, 1 of 10 for 8 yards in the interception that he just threw.
I blame that on practice time. I've never seen many guys. There's some great ones that doesn't have to practice, but when you're a quarterback, you need the timing, you need the practice, and when he was injured in that practice session, he's had to sit out about the last 4 days.
Latimer, the running back, 40, out to the 45-yard line, and Pipes will make the tackle on him. A sophomore out of Colorado Springs, of all places, is Darian Latimer. He's replacing Saladin McCullough, and it's picking up 15 yards on the play.
Well, I thought you had an interesting point that you told Mike Bellotti, the Oregon coach, the other day, and he was not aware of when you talked about the number of starters from the state of Oregon.
Only 2, one on offense and one on defense.
And that they've done a nice job recruiting around the country, Colorado, California, all over, that they've had to go out because of the population base of Oregon.
That's only, what, 3 million people in the state of Oregon. And they get some good players out of there as Latimer takes it straight ahead again. He'll go for 3.
Latimer, the ball carrier on the plate.
Latimer kind of trying to give Saladin McCullough a little break.
3 yards on the play.
8 seniors on this offensive football team for Oregon, so this is a veteran football team on this side of the ball.
And you look at Akili Smith. He started. Moss, this is his 2nd series for him. Quick out pass, throws it complete. And Pat Johnson finally run out of bounds after he's picked up the 1st down. It's going to be a gain of about 11 on the play, and it was Smog who was out there to make the tackle on it.
Well, Pat Johnson is an outstanding receiver, and you see him one-on-one again on the outside, getting the ball from Moss. And he had a lot of people after him, Ron. Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, San Diego State, UNLV, a good stiff arm right there. He went to his first visit, UNLV, and the coach told him, he said, you're going to find a place that you feel comfortable in. And the next visit was Oregon. He felt comfortable, and he canceled the rest of them.
This is Latimer. Got a hit with an ankle tackle and then just kind of fell forward behind his blockers as Bryce Fisher will wind up with the stop at the Air Force Academy with the players shaken up. I think it's Fisher who is still down. Well, he's just now up at the 40. Probably the most important thing when you talk about Pat Johnson and world-class speed is that he went through spring practice for the first time last year rather than running track. And the coaches say, without a doubt, he has more confidence. He's now beginning to believe he's good.
He made a commitment. He made a commitment to football, and you're seeing now the fruits of that commitment.
Quick pass, that's a lateral he can throw, and he does. Looking for Spence in the end zone, and the big tight end dropped it. Oh my, Blake was there, and it was a nice pass.
The officials were trying to check here, Ron, to make sure that Blake Spence was an eligible receiver, which he was. Johnson takes the ball, throws a nice pass.
It is a good pass. Look at that. He should have caught that for the touchdown.
Right through his hands.
Yep.
He had a similar thing happen to him during the year. He needed 20 yards against Utah for the record. And they threw him one pass, and went through his hands. He dropped it. So he lost the record.
3 wide receivers set on the 3rd down at 6. Pressure, and Moss gets away. Still on his feet, and he's going to pick up the first down. This is amazing. He should have been tackled about 3 different times. He just refused to go down. Sanderson finally ended that long, staggering run.
Well, they had a chance to down Jason Moss, and what an effort by the quarterback, the junior quarterback. Almost down, and then it looked like some Air Force players stopped on that play.
Well, they thought because Izzy was all over him, they thought that his knee would go to the ground, but as you could see, the officials not blowing the whistle because his knee was never there. 2 carries for 24 yards now for Moss. First down, it's Latimer. Breaks out from behind his blockers, and Oregon's doing a nice job. Their backs are just continuing to run behind those offensive linemen until they're hit directly. And let's check in with Adrian Karsten.
Ron, do you know who was up cheering the loudest and the most after that play just before? Achilles Smith, who really is the more agile, mobile quarterback. And usually, you know, in these 1-2 quarterback rotations, and in that Washington game when he really took over as the one, if not the only, you might expect a little hesitation from some of the other guys, but not in this case. Achilles was up there cheering on Mr. Moss.
And in our conversation with him, Ron, he said, I was selfish at the beginning of the year. I didn't want to share time at quarterback position.
Swings the pass out to Latimer. Tries to stay in bounds, and now here comes a flag. And that may be a clip on Moan, the center.
This Pat Johnson, we're going to, after the penalty, anytime you throw a little flare screen out there, Ron, you ask your wide receivers to crack back on linebackers.
Illegal block in the back on the offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty, and we'll replay 2nd down.
Here's Pat Johnson, number 83, cracking back on the backer. Wow, good hit. That was the legal part of that play, and here was the illegal part by Moan. Only thing that has stopped the Ducks has been penalties.
Yeah, you're right. You can see the clock shows 2:41 left until halftime. Moss's pass sings it through. Right through Johnson's hands. That may have gotten there a little quicker than he was anticipating. Interesting, Mike, as the sun goes down, and what happens always in the desert country. For all those people who wore shorts to this football game, I got a message for them. They're wanting to head back to the hotel right now because it gets a little nippy out here. Here's the sun's about to go down.
I believe they're heading to the crap table.
Air Force coming off the corner after the quarterback, and the pass is incomplete. Hartley is the man he was looking for. Smog with the cover.
And Deshaun Smog has done a nice job since coming in when Frank Stainpine was hurt. Really, he hasn't given up a completion. I felt like Dirk Cutter may try to pick on Deshaun Smog, but he has been up to the task.
So it is 4th down. And that stops the clock with 2:31 remaining until intermission.
Now, this is an interesting...
they're going to go for it.
This is an interesting opportunity here for Air Force if they can hold them.
Leading 19-0. They're going to go for it on 4th down.
It's an interesting call, Ron, because when you're controlling the game like they are...
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, and it remains 4th down.
And even 2:31 on the clock yet, you're not going to punt them deep in the hole. Now here comes the punting team out. Make them go the distance. You don't want to give Air Force the football. Too good a field position here just before half.
You know, another guy to watch and on special teams, we talk so much about Air Force as Bidwell sets to kick, is 31 Eric Wynn, who was selected all conference by the Pac-10 coaches because of his performance on special teams. The starting fullback. Punt, angles it for the sideline, and well, they got set up and it went right by the man who had set up at the goal line. So let's take a timeout. 2:22 until halftime. It remains 19-0.
Will she say, I love it? You shouldn't have. It's just what I wanted. Or will she say, nothing at all? The diamond solitaire necklace. This Christmas goes straight for the heart.
A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Get ready to get creative. Get into a Rebel G. Go beyond snapshots. Experience the ultimate rush.
Cool.
Rebel G and only EOS lenses from Canon.
Foot action is seeing the game as only he can. It's cutting through the jerseys in motion and dissecting with cool efficiency any player who stands in your way. It's also where you get the tools to break them down. Like the Nike Air Hype Up Tempo. For every action, there's foot action.
19-0. Oregon leading the Air Force Academy. You see just over 2 minutes left until halftime.
Ron, they don't want to take too many chances here because they're going to get the opening kickoff in the second half.
Farmer's going to take that for about a 13, 14-yard gain. And let's check in with Chris Fowler back at the studio.
Ron, thank you. Coming up on the New Dodge halftime report, Lee and Kirk will join me. We'll have a update on the Curtis Enos story, some question about his involvement with an agent. Also, updates from the NFL and some upsets in college basketball this afternoon, plus New Mexico names a new coach. That's all coming up.
Okay, Chris, we look forward to that. Air Force throwing the ball far more here in the first half than what they are accustomed to as they flip this pitch to Ruff, and he goes out of bounds, stops the clock at around the 34-yard line.
How many more guys are going to have involvement with agents until they sit down? College athletic directors and presidents and sit down with the NFL and block these guys and sign these guys. I mean, you take away their license. They can't deal with these guys. And sooner or later, the NFL is going to have to get involved with this. It's not just college football's problem. It's the NFL has to step up there.
It's the reluctance of the NFL, Mike, and it's their livelihood. A free farm system, and they still don't want to do what they're supposed to do to take care of it. Rillos takes the ball close to the 40 after the pitch. Figueres comes up in the free safety spot to make the tackle on him.
Well, the safeties have to be active against an option offense, and Fletcher and Figueres have had outstanding first halves.
Yeah, Figueres really, we have called his name a lot. Third down, you see him creep up the linebackers. Morgan got his man, and oh, did he miss him? He missed him badly.
He's off. I mean, he really is off.
And he had him wide open. And in fact, streaking, who was at Newman?
I think you go to the second half, and if Blaine Morgan can't do it in the first couple drives, you got to go to Cale Bonds, because he is off throwing the football. 2 out of 12.
Now with 1:26 to play until halftime, you got to kick it back to Pat Johnson. I think this one I'd kick out of bounds, Mike. I don't think I'd give him the opportunity. And it's returnable from the 23. Gets all he can and then steps out of bounds at around the 28-yard line. Well, college football coming up on Christmas Day on ABC. The Kelly Springfield Blue-Gray All-Star Classic for Birmingham, Alabama, noon Eastern. That's followed by the Aloha Bowl from Honolulu, Hawaii. The Washington Huskies taking on the Michigan State Spartans in a battle of 7 and 4 teams. Pac-10 against Big Ten, 3:30 Eastern on ABC Christmas Day.
That blue-gray game, Ron, is a great game. It's a lot of opportunities for players that didn't make the bowl season, and Charlie Fats Jones does a great job running that game.
Able to see some of these players and some of the postseason action. The pass to Johnson complete just across the 35. I think what Gizzy's going to be at the East-West Shrine, which we'll be doing out in Palo Alto again this year. I think Spence is in that ball game as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that ball game too. For a great cause, and traditionally has been one of the great all-star games, the East-West game.
Got out of bounds and has stopped the clock with 71 seconds showing until halftime. Quick out pass, got this one complete, but a nice job by Air Force to corral Donald Haynes. He caught it and had no place to go.
It was a good tackle on the outside by Steve Fernandez, number 56.
Timeout Oregon. They had all 3 timeouts. They haven't had any reason to use them. And with this timeouts, go down to the sideline, check with Adrian.
Ron, thanks very much. You know, the Air Force Academy, even though they haven't scored any points here in the first half, has been playing with some extra incentive and some extra support, because just up the road is Nellis Air Force Base, which ever since 1953 has been home to the Thunderbirds, which is, of course, the performing pilots and their F-16s. And I'll tell you what, the other day I accepted their invitation to take a ride. Finally found the confidence to get strapped in. I'll tell you, putting on a football uniform was never so complicated. And then we started to roll out onto the tarmac. Going east and west was no problem, but then we went vertical.
Love it, Adrian.
Yeah, we're pointed straight up right about now. He's going right on over the top. And if you look back, Phil, you look back, you can see our smoke down there below. See that? Wow. Into him like this. And I'm only pulling about 5.5 Gs. You'd really want to be pulling about 8 or 9. All right. Well, that was, I got about 9.2 up here.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back, by the way. Thank you, sir. I'll see you when you get there.
Ron, with that helmet on, your head weighs about 30 pounds, so at 9 Gs, it feels like a 270-pound defensive tackle sitting on your head. So naturally, terra firma for me never felt so good. Great to be back on the ground. However, Joe Montana and Tiger Woods have taken that same flight. And unlike those two, my motion sickness bag remained unsoiled.
See, the other thing different, too, Adrian, is your pocketbook.
Adrian,
from those 2 guys.
Now tell the truth. That 2 pounds of soda crackers you had the night before kept your stomach from jumping up there. There's a flag, and the play is going to be stopped short. That's great. That's a nice trip and a good experience for you, Adrian. I know those guys are truly outstanding individuals and fun to be around, aren't they?
They are that, and I'll tell you, the soda crackers, they always talk about eating smart, Ron, and never once did I think about using that bag.
Oh, my. I am amazed that they found a cockpit big enough for him, but Adrian is a large guy.
What is the size limitations? Is it 250?
Well, for pilots, Adrian is what, 6'6", about 280, 275?
It's 6'6", 250, so I was half an inch too tall and 5 pounds too heavy, but we bent the rules a little bit.
Third down. The line to make is the 39. Here comes pressure off the corner as they bring the corner back, and the pass caught by Spence, the tight end. And he'll take it down to the 35-yard line, tackled by Curry.
That was 4 vertical routes, Ron. What they try to do is catch you in the 3 deep coverage and take both tight ends down the field. He's going to run down the middle of the field. The other tight end's over here, and they're reading the free safety. Jason Moss finds Spence right behind the linebacker. Free safety comes over finally to make the hit. And Oregon trying to get in here with 52 seconds to go.
Moss sets in the pocket. That pass well off the mark. That'll stop the clock with 47 seconds. And remember, Oregon still has 2 timeouts left. So the long pass of 34 yards over the middle to the tight end, Blake Spence, has put the Ducks in very, very good stead. That's Brandon McLemore, who was injured on that special teams play just a while ago. We mentioned he had been injured prior to this ball game, and he's headed on to the locker room.
They got backside receiver one-on-one, but they're going to go on the quarterback
draw inside the 20, and he finally is going to be tackled at the 8-yard line. Jason Blevins made the stop on him.
Well, Moss has been outstanding here in the second quarter. Keely Smith was the quarterback that they said liked to run the football, and the athlete of the 2. But Jason Moss made a big play before on a scramble, and here runs a draw, makes a little move on Jeff Maurer, and finally tackled by Jason Blevins. So we're trying to make Air Force pay for that, leaving some time on the clock for them.
On the 7-yard line, it's 1st and goal. They have 38 ticks left in the clock. Moss rolls the pocket. Now here comes the pressure, throws back and just throws this one away.
Nobody moved. None of the wide receivers moved for Jason Moss. He had Tony Hartley, but he stopped. He looked backside to Kevin Parker, and he didn't make the right move. So Jason Moss had nowhere to throw the football.
We haven't seen McCullough in a while. And that's a long touchdown run. Waiting on the sidelines. He played some after that, but was not really a factor. For Moss, 3 runs, 52 yards. He's 4 of 10 passing for 52.
Go check and see if that.
Well, there's obviously a question with the officials.
What it is, Ron, down at the far side, they can't see the 25-second
clock.
There's
people standing in front.
Yeah, people are standing in front of it, so they had to send somebody down there to move them out.
Like having someone stand in front of your teleprompter. Short drop, quick pass, touchdown, Oregon. Tony Hartley.
But Jason Moss hit the little quick slant pass and had some zip on the football as Keely Smith cheers him on. Both quarterbacks have had an outstanding first half. Total domination.
Really has been. And what's interesting is Joshua Smith is going to attempt this extra point. 28 seconds left in this first half. It's been a very long one, and particularly if you're from the Air Force Academy. There's one right down the middle.
Jason Moss looking all the way for Tony Hartley on the quick slant. Smog, Deshaun Smog, number 10, trying to get his hand in there, just couldn't deflect the football.
We take it all the way. It's all us, baby.
baby. That's what I'm talking about. We're back home. Yeah.
So it is 26-0. The Oregon Ducks on top, and we still have a little time left in this first half.
Good job.
You know, we thought this might be a fairly quick ball game if the Air Force Academy got their offense to work, but they've been throwing the football. Oregon's games, and looking at their entire season, all of their games have been 3.5 to 3 hours and 45 minutes, and we're certainly headed for that here, unless this group right here gets their offense going.
Yeah, the difference in this ball game, and then of course you get 26-0 behind, you got to throw a little bit more, but Rich Stubler's defense, the Oregon defense has been big and has played better in this ball game than they probably played all year against the run.
That ball recovered by the Air Force Academy as it hit one of the up men. Well, tomorrow morning, it's a full 90-minute edition of NFL Countdown at 11:30 Eastern. The distinguished faculty of Bristol University brings you the best pregame show in the business. 7 o'clock, Chris Berman and company are back on NFL Primetime with all the highlights of every game. And then it's the NFC West champion San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks at 8 Eastern. Morgan on first down, throws his pass, got it complete to Rillos, and he will take it down to the 40-yard line as Fletcher comes over to make the tackle.
15 seconds, Ron. Air Force still has 2 timeouts. Got to try to get something on the board here.
And they have used one of those 2, Mike.
Well, you talked about Fisher DeBerry early, just one of the outstanding coaches in the country.
So still with 1 timeout left and 15 seconds on the clock, the Air Force Academy, and we try to look at the numbers of what they've got in this first half. 117 yards, passing yardage 35, 82 on the ground. And for Oregon, 313 first half yards. They've been averaging over 420 a ball game.
And you talk about Air Force offense, 82 on the ground. They've averaged 232 yards rushing. So they're way off pace here in this ball game. Youngstown State wins the Division I AA championship today.
So here comes the Air Force back to the line of scrimmage. Matt Farmer to the top of your screen, number 6. Swings it out of the backfield, and that's rough. Breaks 1 tackle and is going to take it to the 37-yard line. 6 seconds now on the clock. Well, there's a timeout, so while we have a moment, let's visit with one of our hosts out here in Las Vegas. He's the Vice President of Marketing for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Bureau, Mr. Rossi Rollencotter.
Thanks, Ron. On behalf of all of us in Las Vegas, I want to welcome the ESPN2 viewers who have tuned in to watch the Las Vegas Bowl 6. This is a matchup between 2 really great football schools, the University of Oregon and the Air Force Academy. We've had a wonderful time with both the players and the fans in Las Vegas this week. There's been a variety of bowl activities, and only Las Vegas can do a bowl the way that we do it. You know, over the years, Las Vegas has evolved from being a gaming destination to what we are today, a full-service resort destination. A variety of themed hotels have been added to the marketplace over the last few years. In fact, we have over 12,000 hotel rooms which are currently under construction, and they'll become available to our convention delegates and tourists starting in 1998. In addition to all these new rooms, we've added a lot of amenities to the market, from themed restaurants to new golf courses to special events such as today's Las Vegas Bowl. We're the home of the Las Vegas Invitational Golf Tournament, the National Finals Rodeo, a variety of boxing events, and the Las Vegas Shootout. All of this is designed to keep Las Vegas as the #1 destination in the world. So from all of us in Las Vegas, happy holidays and enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, Rossi, thanks so much. As you look at downtown Las Vegas and just a whisper of light coming across the mountains there. city never sleeps. The electric bill I would love to see just from the Strip. Air Force got 6 seconds left on the clock. Morgan going to take this one to the end zone and tipped away. Defensively on the play was Bowman, and we are at halftime. And the Oregon Ducks having their own way. Halftime here in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the score: Oregon 26 and the Air Force Academy nothing. Now with the New Dodge halftime report, let's rejoin Chris Fowler. Chris?